Essential Therapy Wellness Center. I hope that light in the background doesn't be this too bright. Um, hey, welcome. Thank y'all so much for subscribing and the comments on the videos. I really appreciate it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tamika. My husband is Kendall. You might see him from time to time. We owe y'all some videos. I understand, but in between that time and until we get those videos out about the rest of our tenure in Jamaica. Just want to come and stop by. I like to give these little snippets of conversations that come across, and the value and the meat that comes across. I am preparing some breakfast, so you see me moving around. Please forgive me in advance, but I really wanted to connect with you guys while still trying to get my stuff done over here. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just preparing me a little breakfast. I did like a little light workout this morning, so I need to replenish my energy. And so that's what I'm doing now. And I hope that this won't be too disruptive as I'm moving around in the kitchen. Thank you so much again for those of you that are enjoying the videos. I've gotten some good feedbacks. I even have gotten personal calls saying how much the videos are really speaking and ministering and helping in any given situation. So I'm so glad that that's the case. I'm just doing what God has led me to do, I'm inspired to do, and letting everything else kind of fall where they may. Excuse me for a second. Forgive me in advance for moving around. Like I said, I am trying to prepare me some breakfast. So anyway, I just wanted to come and speak with you guys because this morning I had a very, very, very good, fruitful conversation. And I love the fact that I have friends that outside of going out and having fun, we can have some really good, intimate, deep conversations on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really thankful about that. And this morning was no different. We got in a conversation about, just about our dreams, how we slept, things that the spirit might have shared with us in the midst of our, sleepiness or our subconscious hours when we're resting for the night, through the night. We always kind of somewhat share those. But I really wanted to talk about what unfolded out of that conversation this morning. I hope that this is not too loud. But I wanted to really share about what unfolded about those conversations. And I guess the title of this video can be called Exercising Your Inner Voice. Exercising your inner voice. Your inner voice is those things that you might not have spoken, those things that you might not have come clear about, those things that you may even be afraid to speak because you feel like people just won't understand, they won't get you. And that's a big part of why, sorry, trying to get me some cinnamon rolls this morning, I deserve it. That's a big part of why a lot of secrets, go on, a lot of reason why people don't feel like they can share what may have happened to them. This is how generational curses continue to perpetuate. And I've done another video, it's got a lot of views, so I know that this is a very, very relatable topic about generational curses. And I guess this will continue to be what Spirit is allowing me to speak on, for one, because as I'm writing my book and things are unfolding, I myself am having to go back and identify, behaviors, ideas, perceptions, actions that have really played a big part in who I am today. And that's not so much a bad thing, but specifically, I want to touch on those things that have not allowed us to be our greatest and highest self, because those are the things that's holding us back in the day to day. Yes, I want us all to embrace the memories of old, with Big Mama and them and Mama and them and Auntie and Uncle and cousins. Yes, I want us to embrace those great memories too. But I am coming from the meat of the matter. I am coming from where Spirit has allowed me to come, even in my own life. So I'm not asking us to dig deep into things that are not applicable to all of us. These are all on some level have been things that we need to touch base on, that we need to verbalize, that we need to express, okay? Opening up our throat chakra. So that's the level of transparency that I want to come from because, like I said, we can talk on the great things, but the great things are not what's holding us back from being our highest self. It's the things that we don't speak about. So, Spirit was saying pretty much with me and my conversation with my sister this morning, my spiritual sister, my best friend, and we were just talking about how this is why it's so important to go back and do. I don't want to keep saying the work, but for the lack of better terms, we got to do the work. Once we are aware, once things are exposed, once something comes up in our spirit, a lot of us feel solace in suppressing it, but we're not really suppressing it because why? It comes out in our relationships. It comes out in our relationship with ourselves. It comes out in how we view ourselves. So putting words to the emotions that come up and what we feel very much what I am wanting to get to the bottom of. A lot of those things are suppressed because we've been taught to suppress those in our upbringing, but I'm here to free us. I'm here to be one of those liaisons, one of those facilitators that help us. Oh, somebody's walking upstairs to help us to know that we are worthy. Okay. We have to put a voice to our pain, put a voice to the emotions that we feel, put a voice to the actions, even when we're blurting out, when we're acting out, when we have attitudes. Let's put a voice to that. Sorry, I keep hearing somebody move around. So that's what's distracting me at the moment. Um, so we want to talk about that. We came out and I wish that sometimes in the heat of the conversations that we have on Marco Polo, me and my friends, that we understand. Um, the first thing we talked about was our friendships, okay? And a lot of us cultivate our friendships because that's within our power to do. Our family, not so much that we can choose our family members, but our friendships we can. And we were talking about how sometimes the only thing that we connect on is going out and having fun. But we want to cultivate those friendships that have a little bit more substance than what we do just going out having fun, having a little drink here, there, a cocktail. We want to talk about the things that help us understand each other because it's like a marriage. It's like our relationships evolve just like marriages do because we're never the same person at any given season of our life. So we want to make sure that our circle is a circle of just not having a commonality of having fun, but we are actually talking about the deep rooted things that bother us. Not saying we are wearing our emotions on our sleeve even, but again, talking about those things that become deep rooted and we know we just have a better understanding of what our brother, our sisters, our friends are going through. Um, we were talking about how we were so glad that on a level we were able to move away by means of being in the military. We were able to move away outside of the culture that we've grown up in, outside, and it's not so much about it being a culture as much as it is about when I say culture. I'm talking about the way the people around you are used to thinking and thriving. What values and morals do they hold true? What perceptions are developed? Okay, those are the things I'm talking about when I say culture. Not so much, that you're African American, that you're Caucasian. Those are not the things I'm talking about culture and that operational definition. So we were just saying how we were so glad that we were able to move away and be exposed to people outside of what we're familiar with, what we grew up around, how our household was growing up. We're able to experience that. So that helps us coming back into the fold of our family. It helps us to know that not all of the things that have been perpetuated in our family are healthy. Not all of the things that have been perpetuated are normal. When I say normal, I mean blatant things, not taboos. I'm talking about things like family secrets. Excuse me, family secrets that have been perpetuated that cause hurt and pain, molestation, Things of that norm. That's the norm I'm talking about. Going against that. That's not normal. And you'd be surprised that some families would rather keep the secret of that's the norm for them. And then all the while, this person has been hurt and having to go through being misunderstood and not being able to love in a loving relationship. We talked about that this morning. And I just want to present these as topics of thought so that we can dig deep in our journal time, in our times of meditation and reflection. We can identify these things that are truly holding us back. Okay. Yes, we don't want to sit and have a whole day of just thinking about toxic things that's happened. But in our times of reflection, this is what's going to help us to grow the most. We talked about that. We talked about being transparent with our friendships. Like I said, not just going out having a good time, and that's the only commonality we have. But we're talking about those friendships that sometimes can cause us a little dis-ease because the person don't know the influence that they're giving out to a group of people, but everybody's behind them talking about them. What kind of friendship are we perpetuating? Are we perpetuating a friendship or relationship of tolerance? Or are we really, really invested in being truthful and allowing ourselves to have words to match the emotions that we are feeling from certain individuals in our social circle and dare I say in our family? Okay. So we talked about that. We talked about how some people are feeling angry because they are robbed of experiences. And then when they see other people living their best life, when they see other people being able to go out and have fun and be free, they haven't had that. So then they internalize a lot of what they're seeing their friends enjoying themselves, and they're feeling like a prisoner in their own self. Why? Because they have grown up with expectations that were not becoming of their sole purpose. They have grown up with expectations that, what I'm saying? They just felt restricted and they're mourning their youthfulness. A lot of us have come from families where the expectation is that you be perfect. No one is perfect. And we say that, but with a grain of salt, but all the while expecting people to be perfect. And the connection there is knowing that we're not perfect. So we have to give that grace to when people make mistakes, even your own children. Okay. So we talked about that. We talked about how certain individual is being seen as, hold on, y'all. Certain individual is seen as not always feeling bitter, having this bitter, um, just seeming bitter, just seeming like everything bothers them. If someone is having a good time, they got to be the one to kind of bring disruption to the social circle of them being together. And it just seems like there's always a rift. If somebody's doing something and it's not their way, it's like it's got to be a problem overall. Those people like that, if you have any of those people in your social circle that just have to demand by behavior, not so much by verbalization, but demand by behavior that everything go their way or there's going to be an issue, that's something to be brought out. If they're truly your friend, don't tolerate it. Bring it out. Because maybe that person is not aware of the energy that they're giving off. And no one wants to be around that energy 24/7. But because you have a relationship or a past relationship or connection with that person, you still feel the need to be around them or include them in situations. But people are going through all kinds of stuff. This is the other sensitive topic. People are going through all kinds of things behind closed doors, and they don't feel liberated enough to talk about it. If we're truly friends, if we're calling each other friends, then we have to just be able to lovingly create a safe space, not just for the individual, but also for ourselves. Is my eyelash coming off? This is so random. Sorry about that, y'all. Um, but you know what I'm saying? We talked about that this morning, and I was just like, maybe, there are all kinds of games out there, y'all, online in the stores that are really relationship games. A lot of relationship games that we look for are more or less relationships on intimate connections. But let's look for those games that help us know our brother, our sister, our cousin, our friends. Okay. It doesn't always have to be a marriage or a couples type game. Let's look for those games that help expand our knowledge of a person and what they go through on day to day. There was this game that me and my family, my siblings played one time. It was called I'm Not a Stranger. And I'm gonna tell you that game asked some intimate questions without being too invasive. It just gave us the opportunity to understand where we are in each other's lives as we individually have evolved. My relationship with my brother to me has strengthened over the years because both of us have different dynamics. He is a father, he is a husband. I am a wife, I'm a bonus mom. And then we have our beingness in the world or in our careers or whatever the case may be. And we have evolved. And so having to understand my brother or my sister in love or my sister or having them understand me, it became very, very valuable to be able to have a safe space to explain this is why I carry, this is why I work so hard at this. This is the motivation behind this action. You know what I'm saying? It just helps. And this is all about relationships. And some people feel, we talked about this morning too. Some people feel like I don't have the energy, and you may not have the energy for certain individuals. That is fine. And it may seem really, really draining to be around certain energies. And I'm not asking anyone in no way, shape, or form to disrupt their peace. But I also say to this is this: are you going to bring out the situation that's causing your energy to be drained? Or are you going to talk about it? I'm all for talking. A lot of people feel like that draws in confrontation, but it doesn't have to. Conversations and being emotional intelligent, they come by way of conversations. So this goes back to the title again, putting a voice, exercising your voice in any capacity, in any dynamic of relationship. If it gets to the point where your voice is not heard or valued or people don't see you, then there's no receptiveness to change on either side. And that's when you have to decide whether this particular relationship is still of value to you. Okay. All right. So the other thing we talked about was our voice is so is so important for this reason. I'm gonna give an example. We are in an era where all the things that are of old are coming to the forefront. Okay. Um, And we're seeing this on a grander scale, just with all of these celebrities that have been valued for their talents and skills, and not to take away from that. But behind closed doors, their character and their personality has been corrupt. And now it's coming to the forefront of these, and is making it evident, okay, on a broader scale. I said that to say that this is the era of our truth. This is why we have to exercise our voice. Things that's happened to us in our childhood and our upbringing, they're no longer meant to be, we're not meant to be victims of that. But I feel like spirit is challenging us on different levels, for everyone is different. It's challenging us to exercise our voice from those things of old and those generational curses and secrets, is because they are affecting our here and now, day to day relationships. If you haven't expressed what has happened to you in your childhood, a level of that expression is your self-love, is your self-love. If you're not willing to express that, hey, I had been touched inappropriately, or I had allowed someone to treat me a certain way, it's because something deep down in us felt like we're not worthy of the contrast. We're not worthy of love. And you know what that perpetuates? It perpetuates a spirit or personality or behavior. When you get older and you have to interact with other people of other backgrounds, and someone comes to show you love, you can't even receive it. Why? Because we have been perpetuating the things of old that's happened to us that we never even verbalized. We've never given voice to that hurt little girl or hurt little boy in us. So now we've gone through life feeling like, truthfully, if we haven't said it, our actions said that we don't deserve love. So then we get into relationships and friendships that, even if they were to show us clean, unadulterated love and showing that by way of truth and calling you out on your stuff, that we're not feeling content because it's no toxicity involved. And that segues me to another conversation about relationships. Um I'm watching this series. A lot of you might have heard of it. It's growing up in hip hop. And it's just been on TV. You know, I'm able to look at reality TV and separate what's real for me versus what I'm seeing on TV. But a lot can be gleaned from some of these reality shows. Not so much that you're putting yourself in the spotlight of, or you're putting yourself in the imagination that you wish they were them, you know, because a lot of these people, they have money, they have cars, they have houses, and they're still empty inside. And no judgment on them, but you have to be able to understand and separate in yourself what your reality is and what's just entertainment. Okay. But anyway, I'm looking at a situation with this young lady where she says to herself, I don't know how to pick them. And when she's talking about that, she's talking about a relationship. She was in a relationship that was very much abusive. She had lineage with this person, that she was with this person on and off for a 10 years. But a lot of her hurt, anger, and pain has come from what her childhood, her relationship with her mother and father. That's the first relationship that we ever have in this life. And then that segue into other dynamics of relationship. But she has come to know that she is worthy of love. She had to learn that. She had to learn that she was um, sabotaging relationships based off of what she was unable to verbalize in her childhood. And this is probably part two of the generational curse video that I did before, because now we're putting a voice. We're putting a voice and we're putting words that can be understood and comprehended, at least for ourselves and not nobody else, of what it is that we feel and how those things show up in our now relationships. Okay. So she had got to the point of describing, you know, she doesn't have a relationship with her parents, with her family in general. So the relationship that she's had has been the ones that she's created. Going back to her abusive boyfriend, she had to learn that she had been attracting and she had been operating in toxic relationships because that is all she has ever known. It was all that was displayed towards her. It was all that was modeled for her. It was all that she internalized was toxic relationships. And so she had come to realize and feel hopeless that she don't know how to pick a mate that is suitable for her healing. And a lot of us need to really evaluate our here and now relationships, because we want to pick relationships. We want to cultivate relationships that are suitable for our healing and what we have to give off in the relationship that could be healing for others. So she come to realize, I didn't deserve this, you know, and anytime you go to a counselor of any kind, they'll always start with, how did you grow up? They'll almost always start with that. Give me a second, y'all. I gotta take my cinnamon rolls out the oven. How long has it been in there? They cook quick. But we had to start there. They always will start with, how did you grow up? How was your relationships with your parents? And most times we're triggered to go to counseling because something isolated has went wrong. But no, you will come to find out that you're not only there for that isolated situation. You are coming there, unbeknownst to us sometimes. We are coming to get help for that individual situation, but you got to trace it back to the root. Y'all stay tuned for the book, y'all. The roots run deep. The roots run deep. In the book, it's going to talk about, it's talking about transformation. It's talking about triumph and transcendence. So y'all stay tuned. It's still being written. But as I'm going back into my own childhood dynamics of relationships, the things that I've learned, the things that I'm still yet learning about myself on this journey, because it's not a mastery, it's a management of any kind. I don't know, no matter what it is, it's always a management. It's never a mastery. We're always managing the things of old. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So she had come to realize that these things have was deep rooted, and they go back to, again, the little girl and the little boy. And a lot of y'all may be listening to a lot of my videos. And if this channel is about connection, communication, and community. Okay. So a lot of the things, the pillars that we talk about when we talk about self-love, self-improvement, relationships, identifying toxic behaviors, ideas, and perceptions. When we talk about that, those are all the things that's empowering us. That's why this will be a perpetual conversation in anything that I speak about, because this is the root. The roots run deep. They run very, very deep. And if this is a self-empowering, self-love channel, then these things have to be addressed. And they might be addressed on different times and different periods. But whoever looks at these videos, I truly believe that this is a message of perpetuation that will always speak at any given point in time in our lives. And I'm about to burn my cinnamon. You will be mad as me. So give me a second to pull these on out, y'all. Anyway, I just feel like I had to say that. But going back to my overall thing about the young lady having to identify why she continues to not pick the relationships that are serving her, because she had to learn how to identify that these behaviors and the anger that I'm exhibiting is because I have not yet identified what this has meant in my childhood years and how I didn't have the tools to navigate. Now that I'm an adult, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell y'all something. There's a responsibility to be had. If you find yourselves in situations, and I'm sorry, I'm putting the icing on my cinnamon rolls. Yes, I am. If you find yourself in situations where everyone is saying the same thing and it seems like you can't see it, it truthfully is gotta be a soul searching moment for you, for us. I have gotten in the habit of asking the ones that I know truly love me and know me. When I say know me, not have a perception of me, but that truly know my heart. Because I know that any feedback that they give me is going to come from a place of love. It's going to be spiritual. It's going to be a spiritual inventory and not an ego inventory. So I ask those ones that really love and support me, not to support me in my mess, but tell me how you perceive me to be. Okay. And not everybody is ready for that truth, but it is a good exercise. It's a really good exercise. And this is why it's important that we not just cultivate relationships based off of us going out, having a good time all the time. The real friendships come with substance. The real friendships come with, we got to get deeper on getting to know my friend. So when you are going through something, you know that there's an open door policy always and forever for me, for you with me. Okay. So identifying what the toxic behaviors, ideas, and perceptions have been is very much about growing deep. But in order to do that, on the feedback surface of it, we have to be able to put a voice to the emotions and the feelings that we have, even if they don't line up, even if they're not perceived as being the reason on the outside. We for ourselves have to do that. Whether you do that in your journal book, you know what I'm saying? Let me say this real quick because I really feel like this is relevant. We also have to stop and get all of the facts. We got to get the facts about our situation. We got to get the facts about ourselves. We have to see the hardcore truth. Get that mirror, that spiritual mirror, that physical mirror, whatever that mirror needs to be. hold that up to ourselves and evaluate where we are. Because if we don't want anybody to size us up, nothing that anyone should say should be new news. On some level, your spirit has spoken to you and said you need to change this. But we get mad at somebody when they bring it out. It's just spirit reiterating through that person what it is that we could probably be better at. Don't get mad. But I was going to say this too about the details part of what I'm about to say. We have to we need to learn how to get the details about ourselves. And I say that because I'm going to give y'all an example. Is this on? No. I have a couple. So I'm in my day, in my childhood, I used to be the fighter because I'm always for the underdog. And if somebody messing with, I almost cuss. If somebody's messing with somebody that I love, I'm gonna fight you. I'm not saying that was the best way to handle situations. Hear me what I say. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. But what I had learned in my older years as I matured was sometimes I'm going to fight and not have all of the information that I need to really be able to stand 10 toes down of why I'm fighting for this situation, for this individual. So I had to start learning how to fact check and asking the right questions so that I can get to the meat of the matter, because I will be going and about to knock somebody upside their head, y'all. And then come to find out that my friend didn't tell me the whole story. So now I'm going to bust people in their face. Now I ain't doing this for real, y'all. This is a figure of speech. But now I am going to react off of something that was one-sided and not asking the hard questions. When I'm regurgitating a scenario for somebody, when I'm venting, I do my best to be transparent, even in the ways, even if the things that I've done within that situation was not the best thing. I'll say it. Now, they did this, and this, but I will admit I did do this. Okay? That's being truthful. Because if you really want someone to back you or to understand your point of view, you have to give all the details. You can't send somebody out with one-sided situations, because then you're arguing or seeking someone to hold space for you based off of a one-sided situation. You are not being emotional intelligent about owning your own stuff. I almost said the other words. Trying to limit my colorful language these days. But you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to own your stuff. So that goes with the relationship on the inside of us. If we're going to fight for ourselves, we got to know how to own our stuff, y'all. We got to know how to own our stuff. And that's even in the ugly parts of ourselves, or the parts that we have misstepped, made mistakes, should have did it better, could have did it better. Own to do it better next time around. That's why I'm giving a voice. Emotional intelligence is a hot topic, but in order for us to really, really have it, we got to get deep into our own stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Thank you, Spirit Guide, angels, ancestors. This is going to be a raw recorded video because I just really wanted to share this with you guys as I was having this conversation this morning. Very fruitful conversations. I love my sisters, spiritual sisters, and friends. Very fruitful conversation that was really, really inspiring and hold us each accountable to each other, because we really are sisters and friends. So I wanted to share that, giving that voice, owning our stuff. You have those people that have a hard time apologizing. I'm very careful of those individuals. It don't take nothing. Even if you feel like you're right in a situation. Try y'all. Even if you're feeling like you're right in a situation, it takes nothing from you to say, you know what? I'm sorry for how this made you feel. You know what I'm saying? But some people, they have a hard time apologizing. And I'm like, those people like that, They are ego driven. If you're doing everything but saying I acknowledge, and then you gotta say what you're apologizing for. You know what I'm saying? So I'm apologizing for how this particular situation made you feel. And this is just coming along with being healthy, y'all. Healthy adults, healthy souls, healthy spirits. This is what this is. This is what we're talking about today, this morning, this afternoon. Excuse me. Dang, it's gotten late. I woke up late. So, anyway, I just wanted to share this tidbit with y'all. I hope that something that's been said has really, really impacted you, really made you think. I know for me, as I'm saying it, I'm holding myself accountable to what Spirit is saying through me. So, no one is perfect. We say that all the time, but that's not an excuse to exercise a spirit of excellence. And when we find ourselves in error, that we're able to verbalize that, give voice. This voice is just not for the voice of your defense. It's also the voice of understanding. It's the voice of compassion. It's the voice of just being a good human being. Being a good human being and finding yourselves relatable to somebody, even if you are able to say that I was wrong in a situation, or if something has happened to you and you have felt wrong, being accountable to yourself and being an advocate for yourself to understand that you too have a voice and to exercise that voice so that these things of old won't continue to hound and slow us down from being the best version of ourselves. So I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for cooking the breakfast with me this morning or this afternoon. It ain't even breakfast time. Whatever. It's my breakfast because I'm about to start working nights. So I'm having to flip my sleep cycle a little bit in my day-to-day activities on those days. But I love you all so much. Please continue to subscribe if you don't mind. Subscribe and like the channel so that I too can be able to have more availability to show more of these videos to people that it can really help. I'm asking y'all to please subscribe and like the channel, and please feel free to comment. I love you all so much, and until next time, peace. Oh, hey, hold on. Peace.